Welcome back to OpenLine. We were talking about expanding Medicaid in Tennessee and Insure Tennessee, the plan that would expand Medicaid. We have with us Bruce Parks from Clarefield in Campbell County, who shared his story. We have Tony Garr from Enroll America, and Senator Richard Briggs, a heart surgeon and a Republican senator from Knoxville. And we're talking about this this issue. I want to go back to the phones. Let's go to Bob. Hello, Bob.
Oh, hello. It's a good program. It's like I have disability insurance, and I made an appointment with my doctor in January, but it's January, March, April. It's late April. I got an appointment in there. That's just too much. Wait. And the other thing, I'm hearing bad things about the pharmaceutical companies again, and you got all this stuff about the water and the lead. You know, it'd be good to get a program of insurance and then backtrack from there.
Mm-hmm. You may be talking about Flint, Michigan. Now, you're saying you had a long wait for your doctor, and that's kind of outside of this, but we were talking about misinformation that may be out there. One of the big arguments against this, expanding Medicaid, Insure Tennessee, again, is the cost. Mm-hmm. And there's other misinformation about maybe losing control of your health care and that kind of thing. But would you say that if there is misinformation, what is the biggest misperception people have, do you think? Well,
I think that a lot of people don't understand that Insure Tennessee involves a large degree of personal responsibility and personal accountability. And as a conservative Republican, I think that everyone should have to pay something according to their means to pay. And with the Insure Tennessee plan, the premium, if you were between 100 and 138% of poverty, this is the gap we've been talking about to a large degree, you pay a premium of $20 a month. You go to the pharmacy, if you get generic, you pay $1.50 per prescription. If, unfortunately, you have to be admitted to the hospital for some serious illness, it's $75. Now, that can be a lot, but it's not $300,000.
Exactly.
And this is something that most people can pay. Now, again, some of the Republicans said, well, people will sign up and then they won't pay anything and then we're stuck. I actually put an amendment on the bill to try to bring some of those conservative colleagues of mine on board, which said if you miss 2 months of your insurance premiums, you'll be evicted from the program and you cannot re-enroll for 6 months. And so we did put some teeth into it, and we did, we did say you're going to have an element of responsibility. You're going to have to do certain things, and we're also trying to cut down the visits to the emergency room with this. And if people have insurance, they can get an appointment with their doctor. They don't have to depend upon the emergency room. I had a colleague of mine who had, over the Christmas holidays, had his son home from college. And he got one of these gastrointestinal illnesses and had to go to the ER for dehydration. All they did, they put an IV in, they ran in about a liter of fluid, and it was a $3,000 bill. And I know he even said to me, he said, we were over there about 2.5 hours. We had one IV and it's $3,000. And I said, well, yeah, because you had to pay for the 2 people before you that didn't have any insurance. So again, what's happening is that someone has to pay for this. There's no free lunch.
And so that is then the argument I hear on the other side, that there is no free lunch and that the federal government will pay for a few years and then they'll back out and we'll be left holding the bag and we can't afford it. What do you say to that?
I wish I could get my colleagues to read the Medicaid waiver that the government gave for this. If you go to Section 9, Paragraph 3, I've read it. If you go to Section 9, Paragraph 3, it says if the federal government or the Tennessee Hospital Association reneges on their deals, the program shall end, shall be terminated. Not may or could or might or something else. It shall be terminated. And the lawyers tell me that's pretty definitive.
Okay, interesting. All right, let's go to Lucy. Hello, Lucy.
Hey, y'all. Listen, I really do appreciate y'all having this discussion tonight because I was in a crowd of people just the other day and this exact same thing came up, and there were two people there that, as you stated earlier, they were trying to turn this into an indictment against Obama when I was trying to explain to them my knowledge of the Affordable Care Act. I'm a conservative. Okay? And I know that healthcare is the only unregulated business in this country, and it's wide open, full throttle. You can practically do whatever you want to do and charge whatever you want to do. I heard people saying how, if we get Obamacare, your insurance premiums are going to double in 10 years. I'm like, really? Well, I was one of those people that was private pay, and my insurance went from $85 a month to $900 a month in 4.5 years, and I hadn't used it. And when I did finally use it towards the end, the last 6 months, they wouldn't pay for anything, and it was supposed to be some top-tier plan. But then I found out that I was paying my premiums for people who worked. So the people who went to work every day, because I was on a retirement plan, I was retired, that the people who worked could go to the doctor, but here I am private pay and I'm paying for them, but I can't get any benefit from an insurance. So I am grateful that the Affordable Care Act, or the Health Care Reform Act, has come out, because it has benefited me greatly. And I see all these people that have no insurance, that don't understand it, and they nail it with Obamacare. But a lot of people don't understand that it's a Health Care Reform Act, and there's a lot more to it than just insurance. And I appreciate what y'all have explained tonight. And I think they need to expand Medicaid. That was my argument the other day. And you try to explain stuff to people, and they want to play a game and turn this into some political thing and bring up Obama's trying to kill us all or something in the mix.
Well, Lucy, thank you. And that is, go ahead.
Let me respond, because I think she made a very good point. I said it earlier, and she probably said it better than me. But what it is that it is true that when the people that have insurance are paying for all the others. And this is one of the points to make with the Medicaid expansion. Once everyone's paying, then probably your premiums won't go down, but this rate of rise has just been just exponential. It's shot up with what you're having to pay. I mean, there are people paying a couple of $100s to paying $1,200 a month. That's because of all these uninsured people. But if everyone's paying, that increase will probably freeze, or really the rate of decrease will slow down, because now everybody's paying something.
Mm-hmm. And Bruce, how many people do you know that are in a situation like yours?
Oh, a few dozen, I guess. I've got a lot of friends, that works, and can't afford insurance. They work every day, but it's, like I said earlier, it's impossible when you pay your rent, your electric, your water, phone. It's kind of hard on minimum wage.
And so, you can't afford insurance. And you're not, people that work and still aren't making this threshold. So we said for a single person it's $12,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I guess if you're married, it's more.
Well, if your couple is $16,000. So that's the threshold that you got to meet. So just a lot of people, just can't meet that threshold.
Which kind of seems to not make sense. It seems counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
That if you don't make a certain amount of money, then you're not eligible. Yes. So these people that don't make up to $16,000 and they're married, and then they're not eligible, then they're left with nothing.
It's sort of the quirk the way the law was written. I mean, I don't think anyone ever anticipated that the Supreme Court was going to. They were looking for the Supreme Court to say Obamacare was unconstitutional and it would all go away. But the Supreme Court in 2012 said it's constitutional in every way except the federal government could not require states to expand their Medicaid program. It had to be an option that a state would choose. And so now we've got 31 states that have chosen, and Tennessee is one of those 19 that have said no so far.
We have a map. Let's put up that map if we can of the states that have chosen and have not. And Tony, you can kind of walk us through that. What are we looking at there?
All the states that are blue, and blue is not Republican or Democrat. The blue, basically, there's also many Republican governors there. All the states that are blue have expanded their Medicaid program. All of the light blue are states that are actually currently working towards getting an expansion, has not been approved yet. And then the orange states are all the states that have chosen not to do anything and not to expand. The new one there is Louisiana. And that was a governor was elected recently.
Yeah, John Bell Edwards.
Yeah, and why don't you tell that story about Louisiana?
So Louisiana's a new one. Okay, what about
Yeah,
that?
Louisiana elected a new governor with the election in November. He took office, I believe it was a week ago Monday, and on Tuesday he signed signed the governor's order. They did that as an executive decision to expand the Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act. And the one thing that maybe we didn't do right in Tennessee is that the governor had the authority to do that as an executive action, but Governor Haslam wanted to bring the legislature on with this, so there was a resolution passed about 2 years ago that said that the governor would not submit a waiver unless the legislature approved it.
So not every state has to go.
No, most of the states, they did it by executive action of the governor. Now, ultimately, if it had a fiscal note with it, if it was going to cost some money, the legislature would have to authorize that money. But at least to get the program started, the governor could do it on his own. But in Tennessee, we did it a little bit differently.
So if we put up that graphic one more time, you see the states around us. We see Arkansas and Kentucky. What are they doing that we need to be aware of?
It's interesting what Kentucky did is they formed an insurance exchange called KNECT, K-Y-N-E-C-T, like Connect. And it was really probably the best insurance exchange in the country. I saw where President Obama called Stephen Brashear, who was the governor at that time, and said, when they were having all the trouble with the federal exchange, and said, Governor Brashear, could you send your computer programmers to Washington because yours really rolled out perfectly, and ours didn't. But Kentucky's has worked out very well. Now there is a new governor in Kentucky that just took office took office in January, Matt Bevin, and he's threatened to do away with the exchange that's worked so well. So we'll have to wait and see, what will happen with that. Louisiana just expanded. Arkansas was a little bit different with theirs, but these are all states that either took the standard Affordable Care Act Medicaid expansion according to the law. Others asked for waivers where there was something a little bit different about it. And that's what Tennessee asked for, was a waiver.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back, continue the discussion. If you want to call, the number is 615-737-PLUS. Take a break. Be back right after this.